Hello again. Lysandra Everett here, and I am back with video 7 on habits. And today's video is about when you actually stop thinking. So I will tell you now, this might be kind of a long video because I have a lot of points to cover, but I really want you to stick with me through this one because this is some aha stuff. Okay. So the idea behind this is a quote that I remembered from Brian Tracy's book, No Excuses, The Power of Self-Discipline. I guess I'll show it to you. There you go. Um, and he said in there, whatever you repeatedly do becomes habit. Okay. So with that brings point number 1. Habits practiced regularly become routine. Okay. The next point I want to share, I'm going to make a couple points and then I'm going to tie all these together, is a term that Charles Duhigg shared in his book, The Power of Habit, which is where I've been getting a lot of my study from. Okay. Chunking is where the brain converts a sequence of actions into a routine. If I'm going to talk and type, I should be able to type, right? Okay. So what does this mean? Well, it means that once you start performing a series of events, one after the other, they just automatically happen. Okay. So for instance, I look at my son. His routine since he's been born is to eat dinner, brush his teeth, take a shower, get dressed for bed. That's been his routine forever. So he doesn't even think about it. But so when something interrupts that routine or attempts to interrupt that routine, like my husband wanting to cut his hair, it really just throws everything off because a lot of times he goes forward without even thinking about it. And so, after he's gotten the shower, you say, didn't dad say he was going to cut your hair? He's like, oh, mom, I was just in my routine. This is just what I do. So that is what chunking is, where your brain goes on autopilot and says, okay, this is what you are supposed to do. So again, keep in mind that your brain has no idea if you have a good habit or a bad habit. It just knows habits. So if you've heard the term mindless eating, or I just do it without thinking, you might have even said those things. This is why, because your brain has taken over and just said, okay, this is what we're going to do here. So how does this happen? Or why does this happen? Because your brain is constantly looking for ways to save effort, to become more efficient. Okay? An efficient brain frees you to think about other things. Okay, so looking for ways to save effort, becoming more efficient. If you are a computer geek, or if you have ever defragged a computer, that is what this says to me. When you defrag your computer, it takes all of those files and it starts moving them closer together, all the files closer together. So more of the free space is available for you to run your computer as efficiently as possible. Okay, so as this relates to your brain, once your brain gets a habit or routine down, again, the thought process, the decision making goes out the window. All right. So let's look at walking, for instance. When you first learn to walk, that's all your brain is focused on. And think about a little baby who's standing up, he's wobbling, and he's trying to get one foot in front of the other without falling on his face. Okay. Now, as adults, because we've been doing this for a while, we don't think about the walking anymore. We just get up and we just go. We don't think about how to maintain our balance, how to put one foot in front of the other, not too far, not too close, in order to get this walking thing down. We just get up and go. And so when we're thinking, that frees us up to think about all sorts of other things. We're thinking about what we're going to have for dinner. We're thinking about what outfit we're going to wear. We're thinking about all these other things. And a lot of times we get to the destination, don't even realize that we're there, and don't even think about how we get there. Why? Because our brain is efficient. We know how to get this walking thing down. And so now we can, and mentally we can go tiptoe through the tulips or whatever, but we don't have to think about thinking. Now, but that also tells you that in the beginning of a new habit, when you are trying to form a new habit, your brain is inefficient. Why? Because it's spending the time looking for cues. It's looking for the trigger for you to perform a specific action. Okay, so even when you're walking, your brain is looking for, when I get out of balance, this is what I do, until it gets to the point where we don't even have to think about balance anymore. When you're driving a new car, for instance, you could have been driving since you were 16 years old, but the moment you get into a new car, your brain becomes inefficient because all of the old cues in your other cars, that's gone. You've got to look for new cues in a new car. You might be going from a Yugo to an SUV. So you need to spend more time thinking about what you're doing. Where in your old car, you just start that puppy up and you just ride out, right? You don't think about how to back out of your garage or anything like that. Your brain is inefficient when you're starting something new. Now, once the cue is found, a routine or a new habit is matched to it. Okay, so once the cue is found, the routine is matched to it. Now we're starting the loop, right? Okay, so now here is the kicker. Once the routine is practiced over and over, the brain stops participating in the decision making. Okay, so again, remember I just said a few minutes ago about mindless eating. I don't think about it, I just do it. Okay, this is why, because the cue is found, the routine is matched to it, you have your reward, and so your brain is not even involved anymore. You're just on autopilot. You are effectively not consciously making the decision. You're not thinking about it. Your brain is like, dude, you're already on autopilot on this. Let's go think about something else. So when it comes down to habit transformation and changing those habits, you have to consciously interrupt what your brain is already determined as a pattern. You have to stop and look. You have to suddenly come from being asleep to fully awake and aware about what your cue is, what your behavior is, what your reward is, and how you can interrupt that pattern. Okay, so when you're talking about the bad habits that you have, again, your brain doesn't know the difference between a good habit and a bad habit. But what you need to look at is what is happening so that your brain can now be engaged in your decision making, and so you can fully make new decisions. How profound is that? Okay, so listen, I'm going to wrap up this video because I told you it was going to be a long one, but is this not some good stuff? So listen, if you are really enjoying this, make sure to like this video and subscribe, and of course share it with somebody that you believe this could be of some help to, because this has been some eye-opening stuff for me. Okay, this is Lysandra Everett signing off, and I will see you on the next video, and hopefully it won't be that long. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.